The money just happens to be the scorecard of how well you're doing at this game of trying to figure out how the numbers work and make them work as efficiently and as much so in your favor as possible.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host, Clay Trader.
Hey, welcome to the show. There was no fun fact, as I'm sure you noticed, because today is going to be filled with fun facts. It is going to be my personal journey. This is something that I've wanted to get to for a while, and I haven't gotten to it, but a lot of people have requested it. So I'm just going to go through just not only necessarily trading journey, but just kind of my life journey, where it all started, things I've learned along the way, things that have gone right, things that have gone wrong, and just kind of trying to map out, an underlying theme that I make pretty abundantly clear as things unfold. So if you've ever kind of wondered just how things have unfolded for me personally and my story, that's what it's all about. It turned out to be longer than what I thought it would be, so hopefully it's not a snooze fest. Hopefully there's some interesting stuff in there. But yeah, I mean, I figured I might as well do something and give it a try and see how things turn out. But if you don't really care about, kind of where I've come from, I'm not offended. You don't have to listen to this interview, but that's what it's all about. And just for the sake of time efficiency, Ches was not a part of this one. It's just me telling you kind of everything that I've gone through. And like I said, the ups and downs, and hopefully there's at least a few things you can take from it. So without further ado, let's hear about me and my journey. Numbers. I don't know what it is about them, but I've always found them fascinating. How do numbers work? How do numbers work together? More importantly, how do numbers work together to then all of a sudden increase in number, to become larger, to almost multiply in a sense? And for me, it all started in 5th grade with boondoggle. Do you know what boondoggle is? If not, it's like this plastic stuff that you weave together. And I don't know what you were ever really actually supposed to use it for. But for me, it began with my mom just showing support like she's always done. She must have recognized my kind of early entrepreneurial type, passion. And she took me to Michael's. I think they're still around. It's like a craft store. She bought me the material after I'd get home from school and the sports, or that be baseball, soccer, who knows what sport I was playing. I guess it depended on the season. I would then weave this boondoggle together, take it to school, and I would sell it to classmates. And that is where it really just kind of dawned on me, wow, that's fascinating. It wasn't from the monetary perspective in terms of, I need more money. It was just, wow, I took this, I did that, and now all of a sudden I've grown these numbers to where I have actual money in my pocket that I could go and spend. And that was just something that really kind of just blew my mind, and thought, this is kind of a fun game. I am very competitive by nature. Like I said, I've played all sorts of sports as a kid, and I played sports in high school, as we'll get to. But I'm just competitive, and I enjoy the numbers. So that's kind of a good combination, I guess, is when you are competitive, you enjoy making the numbers work. That is what I think really just drew me to this whole thing of, wow, this is kind of a fun game, the game of making numbers work. And the kind of byproduct of all this is that the scorecard is actually dollars and cents. So I don't think I've ever enjoyed doing what I do in terms of building business, in terms of investing in real estate, trading the markets, and all that because of the money per se. The money just happens to be the scorecard of how well you're doing at this game of trying to figure out how the numbers work and make them work as efficiently and as much so in your favor as possible. And this all carried into high school for me. Who remembers Napster now? Napster, the MP3s. Who remembers this sound? 56K dial-up internet, right? I still remember my next kind of bigger venture model was, mixtapes, and sitting there waiting 10, 15 minutes for a single song to download. For you young chaps out there, you just don't, I used to walk to school both ways up, both directions uphill, in the bare feet in the snow. I've officially reached that stage, because a lot of you listening to this you've just always known cable internet, where I want that, boom, I have it in like 2 or 3 seconds. If you have to wait like 30 seconds, you're like, what is going on? You're calling up the cable company. Hey, you scumbags, what's up with you? No, back in the day, when I had to walk into school in my bare feet, uphill both ways, it actually took a while to get a song. And that's what I did. I would burn. People would give me lists. All right, I want all these songs, and then, burn them to the CD. Do you know what a CD is? Burn them to a CD. And then I think it was like $5 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But then the government came crashing down on me, AKA my dad. Clay, what are you doing? You cannot do that. That is illegal. Stop immediately. So that business went to the wayside. Okay. I guess that is but when you're in high school, you're kind of just young and dumb. And that was a good first lesson for me in terms of rules and regulations of how the quote unquote government works, AKA my father. But that was a very valid point of his concern. So that business went to the wayside. And at this point, I, really kind of recognized that the best business to put money in your pocket was to focus on, helping somebody else grow their business, AKA a job. And that's what I did. I worked multiple jobs in high school. The first job I ever really got, I had like a paperboy delivery type route, but that wasn't really like a job. That was kind of more of a family thing. That was a situation where my parents were trying to teach my sister and I about work ethic and how you got to manage your time, because if you're going to be doing all these sports, well then, hey, now you have to also fit this in because you have this responsibility here. So, but the good news is if you fit this into your schedule, you are going to get paid for it. So we had that, but as far as kind of my own job that I would say is in freshman year, I worked as a bat boy for the Toledo Mud Hens. So for you baseball fans out there, they are the AAA team to the Detroit Tigers. And that was a fascinating experience. You'd basically be sitting alongside and interacting with professional athletes. Sure, they weren't quite, professionals. They hadn't quite made the major leagues, but they were one step below. And, sometimes if a Detroit Tiger person would get hurt and they'd have to rehab them, they'd send them down to AAA. If you understand baseball, you know exactly what I mean. But yeah, I met some pretty big names. And for example, I don't know if Deion Sanders, when he was trying to make kind of a comeback, he came through Toledo, which is where I grew up, or a suburb of it. And so, yeah, I just kind of, does anybody remember John Rocker? If you research John Rocker, he was a pretty big name, but he also came through Toledo once. So when I say men, it's not like we were hanging out and best buddies, but yeah, you would interact and see all this. So a lot of just good bits of information from people that were literally at the pinnacle of their career as they were, everybody. I think the bare minimum, I could be wrong, but I think it was like $250,000 a year that even these guys in AAA were making at that point, because they were, just borderline. But I mean, you'd see guys come down making millions of dollars because, wow, that's like a professional baseball player. And it was just talk about learning, observing from people that know what they're supposed to do. And sure, these people are blessed, just genetically and athletically, but it takes more than that to get that level. So just to see the work ethics and what these people went through, it's been a great reminder for me then, and it carries through now. But the biggest thing that I maybe ever in life, I don't know. I mean, this to me, and this will sound melodramatic, but it was like a life-changing experience for me, was when I did my other job at the Andersons, who is a publicly traded company, ticker ANDE, in the retail sector. And they're more localized right around Northwest Ohio and just kind of Ohio in general. But actually, sad story, the retail stores are now all closed. But when I was in high school, I pushed in carts from the parking lot inside. And as a quick reminder, if you see those cart crails out in the parking lot, please, as somebody that used to do that, we really do appreciate if you push the carts back into the crail. That makes a big difference for us. So just FYI there. But that's what I did. And at that time, there was an article in the newspaper that came out about the Andersons and the sons. The dad started it, and the sons. And of course, this is all public information, right? They're a publicly traded company, so you can look through the filings, figure out how much stock person has, what the stock is currently trading for, so you can just get a good rough estimate of people's net worth. And essentially, the sons were all worth multiple millions of dollars. I mean, we're talking about a publicly traded company. They all own lots of stock in it. And these people are worth millions of dollars. And Dan Anderson, who was the head of the retail, so that division, that was his kind of, that was his bread and butter. And he's worth, like I said, millions upon millions of dollars. And one day, when one of the things we had to do with carts, we also were responsible for the outdoor trash. And we had to keep those emptied. And a Saturday, it must have been over maybe spring or one of those times where it was just, the store was always very, very crowded. And it was very, very crowded, carts all over the place. I think there was like 3 or 4 of us, as we called ourselves, the cart crew working. And I mean, it was hard to stay up. Trash was over. So I was going and doing the trash. And here comes Dan Anderson. Hey, Clay, hey, you need some help? Oh, no, I got it. Oh, I'll help you out. And he knew who I was just because, that's just Dan. He gets to know who, is working there. But I also played football with his son. So I actually dated his daughter for a period of time too. So he kind of knew me through those various assets. But this is not why he did what he did. I assure you, he would do it for anybody because that's the mentality. That's just how he is. But, oh yeah, no, let me help you out. And you know how trash can kind of get like just weird like substances on it where it's like, I'm sure it's some sort of liquid, like that trash water that stinks and it's just nasty because people, they'll just dump their drinks in there and it's just nastiness, right? So I'm trying to do that, and here comes, let me help you, and his hands are getting in there. There is trash juice just going all over him, and the whole time I'm thinking, this guy's worth multiple millions of dollars, and he's like literally at the bottom of the totem pole with me right now. I mean, that cart crew, I don't have a problem, looking in the mirror and saying, yeah, I was at the very bottom of the totem pole as far as kind of where you would stand within the company. And not only that, but I was doing pretty much the most bottom of the bottom. I guess I could have been maybe cleaning the toilet, but yeah, I don't know. But point being, we were doing some really just nasty stuff. And the thing was, me and like not the CEO of the company, but very high up in the company, worth millions of dollars. And that has stuck with me. It continues to stick with me. And it's taught me that you're never too good for anybody. You're never too good to do anything. If doing something is going to help grow your business, is going to help grow what you are trying to accomplish, then put the pride aside, put the ego aside, and just go out there and do it. And I'm not perfect at that. I struggle sometimes, maybe I should be doing something, but so I'm not perfect and I'm not sitting here, trying to lecture anybody like I have it all figured out. My point here is though that's one of those events in life that has always stuck with me and always will, is to just see and smell that nasty garbage-ish water getting all over Dan, and guy's worth multiple millions of dollars, and here he's helping out me at the bottom of the totem pole. And so that's kind of my mentality, and that's the mentality that I'll always have, and kind of just how I look at things is, I'm not too good for anybody, and I'm not too good to get down and get dirty and help out what needs to be helped out. So that's kind of just, where it all started for me, kind of the really pillar of what projected me forward in my life and in my journey as a whole. The other good thing that was happening in high school was that my senior year of high school, St. John's Jesuit in Toledo, Ohio, we had to do this thing called the Senior Project, where basically the last 3 to 4 weeks of school, you were done. We took our exams, and we were done with school as far as going to class. But then you had to go and job shadow 3 different careers, one for, 1 week each. And then at the end, you had to write some big old paper about all that. So for that, I chose to follow an engineer, a lawyer, and then I followed and I went back, and ironically enough, I had an awesome 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Virost. Mrs. Virost, if you're listening, you were a great teacher. But I went back and said, hey, this is what we're doing. She's like, oh, we'd love to have you. Yeah, let me talk to the principal, make sure that's all fine and dandy. And it was. So then 1 week I went and spent with my 5th grade teacher. And what I discovered through all this was that I actually kind of like to try to help people. I like to try to coach. I like to try to teach. I like to assist others in trying to accomplish something. Of course, as 5th graders, they're just trying to, whatever you learn in 5th grade, I don't remember. But, she actually let me, because, in high school, I took 4 years of Spanish. And she was like, well, why don't you teach the kids just some basic Spanish? And I thought, all right, so what do you want me to do? I don't know. You put together the lesson plan. And I thought, I kind of, a couple beads of sweat. You mean you're, and she was totally cool about it. She's like, no, put together, you go about it. So I had to get brainstorm. All right, how am I going to teach these kids some basic Spanish? Long story short, I discovered an unknown passion that I had, that I actually like to coach. I like to help. I like to try to, help people grow with whatever they're trying to learn, whatever their goals are. Now, I ultimately went and got an engineering degree, so I chose to go to Ohio State and focus on engineering because that's where there was a good job demand for. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going to pay all this money for a college degree, I want to make sure that I'm actually going to get a job when I graduate that's going to help me to pay back the loan. So like I said, off to Ohio State I went, and that was kind of the beginning of the next phase of things. And when I was there, took an early survey class in terms of, these are all just different engineering majors we offer. One was called welding engineering. I thought welding, I have no idea how to weld. But there's like, well, you know what? You'll take welding classes in terms of how to weld, but after that, you'll never weld again. It's all about, really, it's a connection engineer. If something needs to be connected, it's up to you to figure out, well, how do you connect it the best? Welding is probably going to be the case in a lot of situations, but hey, maybe sometimes there's going to be some other sort of connection that needs to be made. So I thought, oh, all right, that sounds good. And then they said, you'll have like 40 people maybe in your class compared to, let's say, mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, where you're going to have like 200 people. So you're going to have multiple jobs when you graduate. I thought, wait a second, I'm doing engineering because I want a good job demand. And now I'm hearing that this, major has, you'll have a job like when you graduate. Sign me up, coach. And I don't want to jump too far ahead, but they were not lying. So I went and started. I've decided that the welding engineering was what I was going to do. So I started taking classes that would allow me to apply to the College of Engineering and all that. But that is where, the mindset again, for me, it was always about, let's work smarter, not harder. I'm not getting a degree. I'm not going to put myself in a number spot where the numbers then don't go and, work out their way in my favor. I wanted to make sure that things would work in my favor. So engineering, and then that next layer, welding engineering. And that is just that much more of a job market for it. So if you're listening to this and you're in high school or maybe your early years of college and you happen to go to Ohio State, I also think Ferris State and Michigan, I think they're the only two colleges, at least when I was in school, that offer the welding engineering degree, which is why they said you'll have multiple job offers because there's only two colleges in the country that offer that. Then I would definitely say, hey, check out and consider welding engineering. So off to school I went, and while I'm in school, the whole numbers thing, the whole entrepreneurial thing never really slowed down. I thought, all right, well, I'm in school, I'm studying, can we make numbers work? And honestly, I don't remember how exactly I stumbled upon it, but I pretty much decided, well, books are important. I buy books. Books seem to be expensive. And I just started to search around. I thought, can I make these numbers work for me? So again, it was my competitive nature and a challenge. And for me, it all of a sudden boiled down to, all right, we have these things called half.com. I think they're still around through eBay. There's a site called Amazon.com. Has anybody ever heard of Amazon.com? Well, and these sites sell books. And this very, very well may still work. So for you college kids, listen up. Maybe you can try it. I don't know. I haven't checked the system in a while. But what I discovered was that I could go, because when the way college works is you buy a book. When you're done with that book, you can take it to a bookstore and they'll buy it for like pennies on the dollar. So it allows you to get rid of it, raise a little extra money. And then of course they take that book, mark it up, and then they'll sell it. So, I was focused on, I wonder if there's any sort of way that I can make these numbers work for me. And what I discovered was, all right, I could go to Amazon and let's just say buy a certain book for $20 because I knew that the bookstore was offering to pay somebody $30, for example, for that book. So that's what I did. I started to go and I'd be like, all right, buying. So I'd buy like 3 or 4 of these textbooks for $20. And then I would go to the various bookstores and be like, here, I'd like to cash my book in. All right, here you go, $30. All right, here you go, $30. Sure, it was only $10 a piece, maybe a little bit more effort than what it was worth. But for me, it wasn't the money. It was the game. It was let's see if I can make these numbers work. And they did work. I think the bookstores maybe started to catch on. I mean, they never said anything, but after a while, they're like, I could have sworn I just saw you last week selling me back this very same book. But the other thing that's the problem with that business model is, not every single book. It's not like I had unlimited ability to buy $20 books. So I knew that it would be $20 or below. But the one risk was, sometimes the book or like, oh yeah, now we're doing that one for $25. So that's kind of when I saw prices start to go down. That's when I knew, all right, I might have to go anywhere. But anyways, that's what got me into the whole book thing. And then I'm not turning this into a book. Maybe eventually sometime. But I got into actually selling books and using online. And it'll come up again. But I will just say that I formed a book business based entirely online. And that was really essentially the first business that I ever started was selling books. And while doing this, I also picked up a job at the library, and this was a very solid job just because you could work whenever you wanted as long as you got what you needed to get done. So you just sign in. It was all honor system. Hey, I was here from this time to that time, and here's, what I got done. And, it was just I'm assuming minimum wage. I don't remember what it was. But so I had a couple of jobs, and I was doing that in college, and that's what I did. I worked, I studied, I went to work, I sold some books, I studied. A lot of nights when friends were going out, I did not go out. I got to sell books. I got to do customer service. I got to do this, that. I got a business to run. And, got hard times. Oh, he's staying, and, just college guys being college guys, whatever. It is what it is. Luckily, I was scared of girls anyways. So it's not like I was like, oh man, I'm going to miss out. Whatever. I was scared of girls. For you longer time podcast viewers, I think that's been a fun fact. But yeah, I've always been a shy person, especially when it comes to females. So for me, it made that a little easier. I was never a big partier. And even if I was a partier, for me, like I said, I don't know. I'm not saying this is normal, but I like the numbers game. I want to make these numbers work, and I would much rather make those work than go and, party, try to meet girls and all that sort of stuff. Plus, I had my eye on this other girl who, we'll get to that in a little bit too. So it didn't really matter for me, but my point was I didn't really live the normal college experience, and not because I'm something special, because I chose to go down a path of working hard. And this is why I'm kind of a jerk. I'm kind of rough around the edges when I hear people say, oh, well, I just can't get ahead in life. Yeah? What'd you get a degree in college? I got a degree in the history of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. In fact, I got my PhD in that. And I was out partying and you wonder why you can't get a job. You wonder why you're drowning in student loan debt. It doesn't sound to me like you were focused too much on the numbers. And I get it. Not everybody's a weirdo like I am and focuses on the numbers. But this is where, why this is the evolution of why I'm doing what I'm doing, kind of took place. Because I realize not everybody is just a weirdo like I am. And just kind of, and I'm not saying that if you were in college and you went out and partied or anything, I'm not saying there's anything, I'm not looking down at you or anything like that. I'm just saying there is, opportunities to do stuff in college other than go and do that. So it's really up to you, the choices that, you want to make in regards to that. So I'm at college, time goes by, and, I'm looking at my notes here. I took 3 pages because I want to make sure that I, try to give everybody a decent size, look into kind of how things have unfolded. But I'm working hard every summer, and this was back to high school. My family would go up to this campground place in West Michigan, and we would go, and usually the same families would go up there the same time every year. There's this girl up there that I had my eye on. Her name was Abby. So we just met. Who remembers AIM? American or AOL Instant Messenger. Who remembers Instant Messenger? Oh man, Facebook had nothing on Instant Messenger. Before the Facebook days, yeah. Believe it or not, when I had to walk in the snow uphill both ways with no shoes on, Facebook didn't exist. It was all about AIM. So me and Abby, we kept in touch over the summer, and we knew we liked each other, but I was just too shy, so I never really told her. So I'm not going to get into all that. But yeah, we always kept in touch. I had another girlfriend for a while in college. But long story short, eventually things got serious again, and things progressed to the point of, hey, I think I'm going to propose to her to marry me, because we started dating, and the book business was doing very well. I was every single quarter, so I was now paying for my college tuition. I was no longer taking student loans. Those were all paid back. I was paying my way through, and it reached the point where it's, yeah, I could help financially support us. Abby got a 2-year degree in physical therapy as a PTA physical therapist assistant. So she was getting to be graduated. So I thought, this girl is great. This girl is beautiful. This girl is like as cool can be. Why would I not marry her? What am I waiting for? Sure, I still have 1 year left in college, but what am I waiting for? Yeah, I realized getting married at age 22 or 23, whenever I was, that's kind of like weird, because that's actually kind of young. What am I waiting for? The numbers work. She's great. So I'm not here to, play the field or anything like that. So let's put a ring, right? Take her off the market. My one bit of college advice, fellas, if there's a girl out there that's like, whoa, don't beat around the bush. It's economics, supply, demand. There's a limited supply of girls that are like, oh, wow. So if you see one, get them off the market. Don't play any games because you never know. Some other businessman like myself, well, not me now, but back in the day, who recognizes it, you don't want to have any regret in that regard. All right, no more dating advice. I'm catching myself from that rabbit hole. But point is, I talked to her dad, got permission, and I proposed, again, just to kind of, not to toot my own horn, but just to kind of illustrate the way the book business and all that was going, was able to pay for her engagement ring in all cash. And there was no debt being taken on through any of this. So as I paid my loans, and we got married the year before my senior year of college. So yeah, I showed up my senior year of college, and just because guys are guys, I showed up with this wedding ring on, and they're like, What is that? Oh, I just got married like a week ago. Because it's true, we got married a week before my final year of school started, and that was that. And the interesting thing is that when we got married, I also already had a job lined up for when I was going to graduate. The summer before, I got an internship, and this is another just kind of part of my journey that really just goes to show and maybe can offer up some motivation. But when you're in college, you start to do internships later on, and this internship was with Honeywell, and Honeywell, ticker symbol HON, worth like billions of dollars. And they were coming, and they always did the first, interviews because it was where I needed a security clearance. So because that security clearance takes months upon months upon months, they needed to get in there like right away at the beginning of the junior year, so that by the time the summer comes around, which is obviously months upon months later, you hopefully have your security clearance and you're good to go. So they were the first, company that came to interview. And remember, it's a very limited pool. I think there was like 37 people in my welding engineering class, but there was like 15, 16 people, maybe even 17 people that interviewed for this. And I was one of them. I'm thinking, all right, I'm definitely not the smartest person in my class. I know where grades stand with, other people. I know they do a lot better than me, but let's just see what happens with it. And for a little bit more context on my resume, I talked about my book business, and I put some revenue figures, which, where I had some months where it was over $10,000 of now revenue, not profit, but there were some pretty big numbers in there. And I sit down, and I kid you not, the very first thing they say is, so tell me about this book business. And just the look on their face, you could tell they were just like, what who is it? Like, what is going? And I ended up getting the internship as the first choice. And it's not because I was, like the smartest person, not at all. But my point here is sometimes you just got to do something. What that something is, I don't know, but you just got to do it because you never know what sort of windows, what sort of opportunities that may open up. I am convinced that if I had never just, done the book business and not been able to put that on my resume, there is plenty, because like I said, they pull transcripts. They know what my GPA was. They know what the GPA of the other candidates were. And yet they still chose me because I guess I don't know, but I'm assuming they were like, all right, this guy, sure, he doesn't have the greatest GPA, but he's got a job at the library. He's got his own business, and he's doing pretty well in the business. And, he's clearly a hard worker. And, with hard work, you can mold and you can make, you can turn that into a good, solid person as part of a company. So my point to you is, as really anybody in life, just show people that you're a good worker, that you're a hard worker. Get some job references. When you go to work and you pick up jobs, people understand, all right, yeah, maybe this person's grade point average isn't quite as good, but yeah, they were working. And not only were they working, they apparently did a good job working because now they have, references from their bosses at these jobs as part of their resume. And things like that can go a long, long, long way. Don't think that you have to go and overspend vastly on some sort of college education because, I got a degree from such and such. No, I assure you that I beat out a lot of people from such and such degrees. Now, they weren't degrees, but other people within my own class that had much better grade point averages because I guess I'll pat myself on the back a little bit. I had a pretty solid resume, not from a GPA standpoint, but from wow, this guy, he's going to work. He's going to think outside the box, and he's going to get the job done. So I did that internship, and that was all leading up into the wedding. So I got back, and that was in Kansas City, Missouri. So I got back from Kansas City a few days later, got married. Then like a week later, Abby and I, we moved down to Columbus to our apartment. We were married. She had a job as a PTA, and I was going back to school. So for that final year of school, I had myself a sugar mama. Not really. I mean, I was still working, but it was kind of nice. She would go off to work. I would, do classes, do the book business and all that. And then this is where the whole next kind of phase starts. Abby got home and said, hey, I was at our bank, and the people said, you have kind of a lot of money sitting in your savings account, not doing anything. Have you ever considered mutual funds, the stock market? And I thought, the stock market? That's for dweebs. The stock market, that's for geeks. That's like boring. That's why would I do the stock market? And she's like, well, maybe we could just sit down. I said, all right, yeah, we'll sit down. So we met up with a banker. I think this was at Fifth Third Bank, if I remember right. So for you Midwest people, that's a regional bank. Sat down, and the guy started to explain, all right, this is what a mutual fund is. This one has that sort of dividend. And I remember one of the first questions I ever asked, what's a dividend? What is a dividend? So, I mean, like I said, we all start off not knowing anything. And I had no idea what a dividend was. So they explained, and all right, being the numbers person, as soon as I saw, oh, whoa, numbers. This is like more numbers. This is like a very interesting, and why I didn't know about the stock market in terms of numbers, I don't know. Maybe I was too laser focused on the book thing, but I just wasn't aware. I guess I just don't know. But that's how I got introduced to the market, was through, you should consider this. So we got some American mutual funds. I think Ben Franklin I don't know, some sort of Ben Franklin fund or something. I think ticker symbol is BEN, the company that these mutual funds were through. So we got those, we put in the money, and then I started to watch them. Then I figured out there was these financial shows on TV like CNBC. So I became an avid CNBC watcher. And then there's this guy by the name of Booyah, Jim Cramer. And I said, wow, this guy's entertaining. He's very passionate. He's boisterous. Okay. So I started watching Jim Cramer. And it got to the point where I'm like, I can do this. So I went into my quote unquote online brokerage, which was definitely not an online brokerage, through Fifth Third. And I figured out, I'm like, okay, it says sell. So we'll see what happens. Sell. And I sold my mutual funds. And now I was back to just having cash. And Jim Cramer was talking about this stock. It was going to be great. LVLT, level 3 communications, I think. I don't remember what I bought it for, but I bought it, and it went up in value. I don't remember how much, but it went up and went up. I was like, all right, numbers. These numbers are working in my favor. In fact, these numbers have gotten even bigger. All right, click there. I think, all right, sell. Wait a second. I'm an engineer. I know how to do math. I know how to add, subtract, do a little division. How come it shows that I only made that amount of money? Upon further research, I can't remember exactly what it was. It was either $30 to buy and then $30 to sell, or it was $60 to buy and $60 to sell. I can't remember what it is. The point here is, though, that I went and thought I was doing online trading, but Fifth Third Bank, they're not like E-Trade. They're not like Charles Schwab. They're not like Fidelity. They're not like Interactive Brokers, where they are built for trading and they're going to give you good, solid commissions. This is just some regional bank. And I paid some absorbent amount of fees to then, to when I bought and then when I sold. And I still came out a little ahead, I think, or I don't remember. But I was just like, wait, what? So that was always why you can't give. Now, will I give people a hard time if they're doing something stupid? Yes. Why do I do that? Because I did plenty of stupid things. And I would like you to learn to not do the stupid that I did. And that was one of the first of many stupid things I did in the market, was not understand commission structure and then way overpay on things. So, but I still made money, so I continued to watch. And then, of course, I hopped on this thing called the internet and probably Google, and that led me to the path of penny stocks. And with the penny stocks, you read around, okay, there's these things called message boards, okay? So on the message boards and then on Investors Hub, there's one that's called. So I start doing some research, and I start trying to follow people. What were some of the other message boards out there? I can't remember the names of them. That's going to bother me. I don't remember. But anyways, Investors Hub is what I have in my notes because that was the big one. And I eventually found this one, FCCN. They don't exist anymore. They probably had like 18 ticker symbol changes by now. But they were in the business of stainless steel mufflers. Oh, let me say that again. Stainless steel mufflers. And, I'm not going to go through every dynamic, but I honestly thought, I can't believe I accepted this job at Honeywell. I'm not going to need it. I'm going to make so much money. This thing's going to Dollarland. I mean, I got in at, like less than a cent and a half, couple pennies, 3 pennies. And this thing's going to like multiple dollars. And I'd put a decent chunk of money in there. This thing is going. It's going to go. And of course, where this story ends. Yeah, it went down the toilet. And I held and that basher there and all that person shorting there. And, I was just, the sheep amongst sheep. In fact, in my penny stock survival guide video course that I offer, with one of the videos, I go back and pretty much just bash myself, crucify myself by showing the history of kind of when I first started and some of this stuff. Oh my goodness. That's why I say if I get on you for being stupid, it's because I recognize stupid, because all I have to do is look in the mirror, and I have plenty of stupid experiences, and this was one of them. I totally fell in love, and it was a nasty, nasty scene. I don't know what it was, like 75% loss. I can't remember. This is over 10 years ago, but it was a brutal slaying. And when I did sell, there was a sense of relief, a kind of a sense of weight off my shoulders. But I just continued, with the penny stocks because, all right, this is how you can, grow money quickly, how you can get these numbers to work in your favor quickly. And as I went through it, I just learned more about how penny stocks work, more about the psychology, more about the game more than anything else, how pumping works, what's going on with bashing, the truth about kind of this whole shorting thing, how companies I kind of work, but that'll come more later. But I started to gain more and more of the insight into, how this all worked. And then I started, focus on other types of trading too. But I was still, a good amount involved in penny stocks where I started, like I said, learn the game. Eventually graduated from college. And, it was really hard to go to senior year of college knowing that you already had a good, salary job waiting for you, motivation levels. And then I discovered this thing called the stock market. Then I'm still doing books, and I didn't do the library job anymore my senior year because I had my sugar mama. That's a joke. So, I didn't do that anymore. But yeah, it was, I got through though. I graduated and off to Kansas City, my wife and I went. And Kansas City, started working as a process engineer for Honeywell. And like I said, there were security clearances. Let's see, what can I say? So the plant in Kansas City, Missouri, they work on the parts for nuclear weapons. So all the parts that go into nuclear weapons, that is what is produced there. That is, Kansas City is the production plant. I worked at the production plant. Then you had design agencies all around the country. You have Lawrence Livermore, you have Los Alamos, you have Sandia National Laboratories, and then you have other different areas around the country. But it's the nuclear complex. So basically, I worked for the Department of Energy. Just an FYI. So a little fun fact: nuclear program does not fall underneath the Department of Defense. The nuclear program, nuclear weapons, are under the Department of Energy. So I worked technically for the Department of Energy, but they just outsourced that to Honeywell to kind of manage the operation. So at any time, Honeywell could have just went kapoof, but I would have still had the job, and it would have just, who knows, maybe I could have all of a sudden worked for Boeing, or all of a sudden worked for, Northrop Grumman, or, one of those other contractors. So I'm there, I'm working with all that, and I guess the point of that was I can't really say exactly what I was doing just because, security clearances and all that. But that's what we did. We worked on the components. So I worked there. I'd get home, study stocks to really, in hindsight, an unhealthy level. I was obsessed. And, bless my wife's heart, Abby. That's what I said, fellas, if you find a good woman, you gotta take them off the market. She was way more than patient than what she needed to be, but it was just get home, study, look, study. And, from a marriage perspective, an unhealthy level. And, like I said, just My wife, she was more than understanding, but that's just what it was, study. And then, of course, when I'd get at work, any sort of break, I stopped going down to the lunchroom. I'm like, yeah, I get it. When you're first here, you want to just kind of build relationships. You want to, get to know people. But eventually I'm like, no, I'll eat my lunch at my desk so I can, look at, the stock stuff and figure out just kind of what's been going on with all that. So that lasted, several months. I'm trying to think, maybe a year, couple years. And eventually it became a situation of good old Don. I won't use his last name, but Don, I'd walk into a meeting or whatever, and the first thing he would say is, "Hey, there's Clay Trader." And I thought, Clay Trader, that's got an interesting ring to it. So that's kind of where the alias, that is where the alias came from. Instead of Day Trader, Clay Trader. And I went and I changed my alias on Investors Hub to Clay Trader. And I thought, hey, Don, thank you. I probably owe you some in royalties, but I'm pretty sure you didn't trademark it or anything like that. But Don, thank you very much. It stuck. And I'm pretty sure Don's retired now from Honeywell. But so that's where all that came from. And all this just continued to progress. And I started to get better. I was really already understanding the penny stock game. I started to get better with just normal trading. A lot of the trading was more so swing trading. In fact, I didn't know it was the volcano strategy. I now that's what I title it. That's what I have a course on. But I was doing a lot of volcano type trading, while I was in, doing Honeywell, because that one's more of a swing trading type thing. Again, it's not like I knew it was called that, but that is what it's called now. So I was just doing a lot of that sort of trading. Continue to look into penny stocks, trade penny stocks. Keyword there being trading, because I started to understand the game more and more. And then it got to the point where, and I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. But the passion of I like to help people, I like to coach people, popped back up again. And it popped back up in the sense of, hey, I've been using these things called technical charts. They've been really helping me out with my emotions. They're really keeping me from freaking out. They help me to kind of make sense of a market that many times doesn't make any sense, which is what makes the market work in the first place. I mean, if the market became totally predictable, it wouldn't work. But I located charts, and the charts, they're really helping me out. They're actually helping me out. They're helping me put myself into an uptrend. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to I'm going to do a couple educational things here. So I started to do these posts on Investors Hub, made a couple of videos, and they were just kind of out there. And somebody approached me and they said, "Clay, stop. Delete all this stuff immediately. Let me help you out. This is like really good stuff. Like, in fact, it's so good, people would be willing to pay for this." And I'm like, no. What are you talking about? I'm just doing this because I like to teach, and it's just kind of whatever. And no. He's like, seriously, please, people would be willing to pay. I said, all right, well, so that sparked the entrepreneurial spirit again. All right, well, let's give this a try. And that is where Robotic Trading 1.0 was born. Was back on Investors Hub. I cannot say that I sat there and came up with the idea, hey, I'm gonna create a course. I'm gonna sell a course. No, but you know what I did? Here's that theme again. I did something. If you do something, you never know what may actually happen with it. So I did something. And now all of a sudden, all right, so I put together this course, Robotic Trading, and I started to sell it. And yeah, people bought it. It wasn't like it was, oh my goodness, where's the Lamborghini? Nothing like that. But it started to create another form of income. And I thought, okay, I like numbers. This is cool. Now numbers are growing from not only my job, and the book business at this time was done. I hung up that just because I was so obsessed with the markets, and the markets, brought in money, which was, the market doesn't send you customer service emails. The market doesn't say, hey, where's my book? Well, you just bought the book like 3 hours ago, so you kind of got to like 3 to 7 business days. Just no more of that. And the profit margins on books, some of them not so good. So, it was just, I'll put it this way. From a numbers efficiency perspective, the stock market and such made a whole lot more sense. So I had the stock market, and all of a sudden there's this training course. I have, Abby was still working at that point, and then I had the Honeywell. Okay, yeah, another stream of income. So that went, and that went, and that went. And, it became somewhere it's like, all right, well, you know what? How can I try to get a little more eyeballs on this? Let's make the numbers grow. I thought, all right, well, why don't I take just a chart, a technical chart, and then record my screen of me just doing a quick analysis on it. And that was the birth of the video charts. Maybe you've seen them, maybe you've not. I can never imagine what that would spin into with all the conspiracy theories, but that's a whole nother story. But I thought, why not try to do a video chart? And that is what just totally, I guess in hindsight, it was kind of cutting edge, because I don't think anybody else, at least on Investors Hub, was doing it. I'm not saying I'm the first person to ever record my screen talking about a chart, but it was somehow pretty revolutionary in the sense of my follower numbers on Investors Hub. If somebody likes what you're saying or wants to follow you, they'll click a follow button. And I just started to get 50, 75, 100 a day. And it was crazy. And before you knew it, I'm in the top 10 of a site that's got like 250,000. I'm actually curious. I don't know how many people are on the site right now. I think there's over 500,000 members on Investors Hub. But back then, I don't know, maybe it was like 200,000. Let's just say 100,000. So there's 100,000, and all of a sudden I'm in the top 10. And then all of a sudden, top 5. And before you know it, I'm, literally the number one most followed person on Investors Hub. And to this day, as far as I'm aware, that remains the case. Out of, the 500,000 members or however many people, I'm the most followed because what? I did something. I was like, let's give it a try. Let's try. Let's see what happens. And that was kind of it just sent things bonkers. So here I am now, number one on Investors Hub, doing these videos. Then this is where the next phase of things comes into play. I get a message from somebody saying, hey, Clay, I like these video charts that you do. I'm representing, this company here. I'd like to pay you to do a video chart on the company's chart. Say that again? You're going to pay me to just spend like 5 minutes doing a video on this company's chart? And of course, I didn't say that, but that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's how it would work. So now all of a sudden, because I did something, now there's this whole new revenue stream coming in where people start to come and pay me for these video charts to do. Now I definitely did some research, making sure I understood the disclosures and disclaimers. So on all these videos, I had to make sure that down in the disclaimer area, I said, hey, you know what? I am being paid, X amount, whatever the amount was for, doing this video. So I made sure that to do all that to follow the compliance. And, that was in the disclaimer. And now all of a sudden I'm making money just to talk about other people's charts. And I'm thinking, wow, this is some good stuff. So that just continued and continued. And then it reached the point where it was kind of a situation where, I understand how the penny stock market works. And I understand, how things could be better because I see what, should happen and then what ultimately does happen. And I can fix it. Again, I'm a competitive person. And by fixing it, that would make their numbers better. That would make them grow as a company. And again, from an entrepreneurial perspective, sure, it's not my company, but if I can help somebody else grow their company, awesome. That sounds really fun. So I started, started to look more into that. How can I get more involved in, trying to help these companies do better? Because I understand what a penny stock investor, what a penny stock trader wants to see, what needs to see. Just a case example. If you're going to gag the transfer agent, meaning the transfer agent can't give any more information, that is bad. That is going to cause your stock to go down because why would you gag your transfer agent? Oh, probably because you're diluting. So if you're not diluting, which all these companies say, then why would you gag your TA? So that was just one little example where, and for those of you that are longer time penny stock traders, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's just one dynamic where I'm like, I want to serve as like some sort of consultant and help these companies grow. So eventually, as I look more and more, you get to know people on Investors Hub. And, one of these people, I went through a breakup with their former business partner. And because I was extremely high up, being followed, I thought, hey, you want to partner up and try to do this? And I thought, yeah, definitely. She already had some, inroads with a couple different situations. And just through networking, through some people she knew, through some people that I knew, we formed a team, and it was, my company. It all fell under my company. So it was myself and then in charge of 4 other people. And here I am, age, 23, 24, 20. Yeah, something in my, and I'm in charge. I'm a leader now of 4 people within this company. So I'm thinking, all right, here we go. And away we went. And we went in there with the attitude of, we're going to show people how to do it. We're going to show people how it's done. We are going to consult these companies and show them the way to go about, expanding. And we started to network. We started to, we had people doing cold calls, just trying to get business out there. And we landed deals, and we got deals, and we got more deals. People would give us, chunks of money. We would take that money to go out there and distribute to different, areas to help to try to bring in marketing, to help to try to bring in eyeballs to their story, to what they had going on. But after a while, the same types of patterns started to form. It was like, okay, you say all this is going to happen, but then that does not happen, and now all of a sudden your stock price is getting hammered. And then all of a sudden we figure out that you were diluting, or insiders were dumping shares all over the place. And here we are trying to, convey another story to people based on what you've told us is going on, but that's not actually what's going on. And then of course, CEOs would say, oh, well, I didn't know. It was the insiders. It was some old financier that was doing all this. And I don't know if that was true or not, but things just never added up, and things started to become frustrating. So, competitive, I'm not going to give up. Maybe that's just, so we kept at it. And the same types of things happened. I mean, now don't get me wrong. There was some where, there was good stories and such that we could kind of help and, get their story out there. But things always seem to fall off the rails at one point or another. Where I sit now, I understand. I get it, because I fully understand the behind the scenes of the penny stock world. And that's why I guess I'll turn this into a plug. I feel 150% confident in my penny stock training course that I offer, because I know how it operates behind the scenes. I got kicked into the teeth as a trader in penny stocks. I got kicked in the teeth as somebody behind the scenes that's trying to help market, trying to help get these people's stories out. And that's why you just can shake your head when everybody's blaming the shorts. Everybody's blaming the shorts. And it's not the shorts. It's either the CEO lying and diluting. It's some sort of insider lying and diluting. It's some sort of, toxic financing agreement where the shares are just pouring out. And it doesn't really matter about the product. It doesn't matter how great the story is, because a great story with even a quality product, let's say that it's actually a quality product, with the way a lot of those financing agreements are established, I mean, the stock price really doesn't have much chance at all, because it's just going to get pummeled into the ground. And that happened over and over and over again. Eventually, our team kind of disbanded. We went our separate ways. And while all this was going on, I'm still trading. And also while this was all going on, and all the multiple revenue streams, it eventually made sense. You know what? I don't need to do this engineering thing anymore. So my wife and I, we looked at the numbers. We thought, I'm actually costing myself more money by working via not working. When you look at the streams of income through, just the various, the streams that I've described, it just didn't make any sense anymore, especially from the perspective, like I said, of almost having the Honeywell job was holding back these other streams of income. So it was crazy. Everybody at work thought I was actually, no, a lot of people were like, we're going to see you on CNBC someday, aren't we? I thought, probably not. But so some people were shocked. Some people were like, all right, wait, good for you. You're going for it. And I went for it. And I've never looked back. I've been my own boss since that point in time. And what is the underlying theme here? That hopefully, because I did something. Just do something. I don't know what your something is, but just do it. You never know where it may lead. So I'm now working from home. I'm out on my own because, like I said, that team, we left on good terms. I mean, it's not like it was anything Jerry Springer-ish or anything like that. But I kept at it because I think this could. But this is where I started to shift things. I'm like, you know what? I'm going back to my roots. I'm going to focus on charts. And my whole premise is going to be, I have a newsletter, Bull Warrior Stocks, and for that newsletter, I'm going to, if I don't have any business, that's fine. But every weekend, I'll do I did scans, so 5 charts, and I'd annotate them and all that sort of stuff. And this has a purpose here in a little bit. But my whole motto was, you can pay me and to do a video, or you can pay me to talk about your stock in my newsletter. But I'm going to talk about the chart. Now, I'll mention what your company does and things like that, but the main focus is going to be your chart, because when you talk to these companies, when you talk to these investor relations, it's always sunshine, rainbows, unicorns. Oh yeah, there's going to be no dilution because of this. Yeah, there's no toxic financing in place. And eventually I got so crusty and I got to the point where it's like, look, I just want to save us both some time here. This is what I do. I focus on the technical chart. So if everything that you're saying is true, awesome. That's going to be reflected in the chart, meaning your charts sounds like it's going to have a really good uptrend. If all this stuff is going to actually occur and going to be occurring, I see an upturn in your chart. But if this is just, if you're lying, if you're misleading, if maybe you're not, if you're being kept in the dark, just please realize that you can't hide from the chart. If insiders start dumping, if the CEO starts diluting, it's going to show up in the chart. You cannot hide from the chart. And you can imagine that now some people say, no, it's going to be fine. So I would still get business, but eventually, it was in a downtrend. It was in a downtrend, it being that, income streams, revenue. It was dropping and dropping and dropping. And at the end of the day, it was essentially game over. I failed in that business and there's no other word for it. I failed. But it is what it is. Apparently, if you're going to use a chart, which people in penny stocks can't hide from, and they do have ulterior motives, which a lot of them do, then yeah, you're not going to last very long. But for me, it was just like, you know what? I'm going to focus on the chart. That's what I like. And as I've done a video on this before about, the chart being the ultimate penny stock lie detector test, because somebody can yap all they want about how great things are, how great it is, how great it continues to be. But if they're yapping about how great things are and you see their chart is in a downtrend, you're like, I don't know. Are you just talking? Is this just smoke and mirrors? Because the facts and realities of the matter, aka the technical chart, are telling a whole nother story than what's coming out of your mouth. And that's why I love charts to this day. But yeah, that business, that revenue stream, it totally failed. That was an ultimate failure on my part. And I basically went out of business. I went out of business. Yes, people would still pay me here and there. Hey, can you just do a flat out video? Because I stopped doing the newsletter thing. So I was like, yeah, I'll do a video. And they were fine with that because usually the video, it was nothing huge. So it was definitely not a huge, a massive revenue source or anything like that. But that business, that revenue stream, it went kaput. It was a failure on my part. It was, it just did not work out. But I had, like I said, this newsletter. And this newsletter I'd built up over years. It had, 5,000, 10,000 people on it. I can't remember. But there was a good sized chunk. And literally, I was in the routine of every Saturday morning, which I still do to this very day. I'd wake up, I'd do my scans. I'd put these scans in the email, 5 different charts with annotations on them. I'd make a couple other comments. And I thought, there was this CEO once. I can't remember the guy's name. But again, just one of those things where he's like, hey, you know what? You should create claytrader.com. And you could do it. And I was like, oh, yeah, all right, hey, that's, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's available and all that. I thought, wow, interesting. So I didn't do anything with it, but it was in the back of my mind. And, at this point, I was like, it'd be claytrader.com. I have this email list. At least I might as well give it a try. Why? What's the theme here? Do something. I might as well just try to do something and see if anybody would want to continue on with this newsletter. But I'm not going to do it free of charge anymore because up until this point, it was a completely free newsletter. But I'm not going to spend my Saturday mornings doing something free. I have a wife, and I don't know if we had Joy. So I had my first child. Because this was right around 5 years. Yeah, so Joy, so I had my first kid, and I thought, well, let's just see what happens. I still have a big following on Investors Hub, so I'm just going to do something and try it. So I sent out an email, said, hey, this newsletter, this site is basically coming to an end. But if you want to go to claytrader.com, you can still stay on this newsletter, and it's only $99 for life. Not per month, not per year, just per life, $99. And I almost was broke. This literally almost broke me. I don't remember the numbers, but I will say this, out of the, whatever it was, 5,000 to 10,000 people on that list, the people that actually came over and paid that $99 for life was so minimal. And this has got to be it. I'm convinced to my core of cores why I am so crusty towards freeloaders, because I saw the numbers. All these people signed up for the free stuff. opened up the free emails to get these lists. And then as soon as I say, hey, I'm not going to do this for free anymore, but it's not going to be crazy. $99 for life. And then just see the amount of people that signed up. I almost just refunded everybody and said, no, never, sorry. But I thought, you know what? Just give it a little bit of a try. Just give it a little bit of a try. So I did give it a try. And then over time, people signed up. Hey, is there a chat room with this? No, right now it's just a newsletter. Hey, is there a chat room with this? No, it's just a newsletter. Hey, is there a chat room? No, it's just... Clay, maybe you should offer some sort of chat room. So that's what happened. I listened to the people. I listened to the feedback. And there you go. Now there's a chat room. Now all of a sudden there's a chat room and a newsletter. Then all of a sudden, okay, some more people are signing up. Some more people are signing up. Okay, this is actually... And then more feedback. Hey, I'd like to learn about this. I'd like to learn about that. All right, well, I hadn't done a course in a very long time, but a lot of people had said, hey, I've taken your robotic trading course. That was great. But yeah, what about this? What about that? What about these? So feedback, listening to the constructive criticism. It was criticism, yes, but the key is it was constructive criticism. It was good, solid feedback. Okay, so I started to do courses, and then people would buy those courses. Okay, I'll do, all right, well, okay, maybe that's, all right, so let me plug in that. And then I do more courses, and people signed up. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, all right, this is, I gotta, from a business model perspective, from a numbers perspective, I can't sit here and just do this $99 life thing. But I just want to keep out the freeloaders. I want to keep out, the pumpers. I want to keep out the bashers. I want to keep out pretty much the degenerate gamblers. And the degenerate gamblers are never going to pay for anything necessarily because they just want to spend all their money to throw roll the dice in the market. So it's like, all right, let's just do $99 per year. So after it got to 300 signups for the $99 life, it went to per year. And it's remained that way ever since. And as far as I'm concerned, it will always remain that way because the thing for me is I just want to serve as a filter. And a great filter to keep away the riffraff is just, throw up some money or throw up some sort of price. And, it was kind of nerve-wracking. I was like, oh, crap, I hope I don't irritate people. Am I about to just sink the business here? Because now I'm doing, this per year. But I sign up and, hey, okay, people are still signing up. And then more feedback. All right, what about that course? So before you know it, I have all these courses put together, and they're coming together more and more. And then a friend from my local church, his name is Nate. He's an IT guy, and he worked for a local utility company, Consumers Energy. I think ticker symbol CMS, if I'm remembering right. And he started to hound me. You know what he did? He did something. What was that something? He said, I want to try to help Clay build this thing. So he got on, no. Too risky, man. You got a wife now, and it's too risky. But he kept on me. And all this time, he helped me build it up, but he just did it part-time as, a 1099. So when he could fit into his schedule, he would do this for the site. He would do that. So we were already working together, but he was like, hey, Clay, come on. I'm willing to quit. Bring me on full-time. Let's really ramp things up. No. But he did something, right? He kept on me. And eventually, all right, man, I think you're crazy. I think you're an absolute nutcase for, quitting your job that's got the steady paycheck and you're going to come and do this. But he did. And he's now known more better as IT Nate. So IT Nate, that is kind of his little pitch or his formation into the company. And, from there, we just went. More people signed up, more feedback, more courses. And then there was this fella, and he signed up. He went by the name of Ches in the chat room. And Ches was a good, solid guy, good, solid dude. And he always active in the chat room, helping people out. He had a good sense of humor. He was a little rough around the edges like I was, but he's gotten a lot better. I think we've both gotten better at just kind of sometimes just taking a breath, breathing, and just saying, you know what, I'm going to let that, you just got to, there's a point where you just can't help people because they don't want to be helped, so you just got to move on. So, but he had good grit about him, and I liked it. And, he just contributed. He contributed. He did something. And eventually it got to the point where, he pretty much, he made itself known. Yeah, I'm working for this company, but they're a little shady. Yeah, I don't, but hey, if you need anybody, let me know. He did something. And all of a sudden, hey, yeah, you want to come on? Just like part-time. You can do sales, you can trade, you can work from home. And he came aboard, and he had some experience with podcasts. IT Nate used to do a podcast back in the day, and that all of a sudden, well, maybe we should try a podcast. And here we are. The Stock Trading Reality podcast was born. I think I don't know, is this like 3 years in? I don't even remember anymore. I know that in December of 2018, that'll be the 5-year anniversary of claytrader.com. But I don't know exactly. But yeah, we haven't missed a Monday since. We started. I said, if we're going to do it, boys, we're going to do it right. We're going into beast mode. No excuses. I don't want to hear it. And we did it. And those early episodes, this is when Ches was still out in California. I think a couple of times he was up at 5 a.m. or something, because people had to do an interview at 8 a.m. for their schedule. I can't remember, but all I know is that we got it done. Ches, because of his time zone, he was up super early. There were some Saturdays where we were doing podcasts. And till this day, sometimes we're doing podcasts later at evening when people get back from work. But if we're doing it right. It's going to be every Monday. And I don't know what episode this number is going to be, 160 something. But 160 some episodes in, that's multiple years. We have not missed a single Monday. And, that's kind of that mentality. Just do it. If you're going to do it, but do it right and do it as hard as possible. You may fail at it like I failed, but that's okay. At least you tried. At least you did something. And that things have just continued to grow and grow. Now, while all this was going on, I also gotten, interested in real estate investing, because for me, I love numbers. I want to make the numbers work. And back during the whole, bubble pop, when it was mass chaos and, oh my God, real estate, it's the worst thing ever. When everybody's freaking out, when there's blood in the streets, I was, this is kind of this is an interesting opportunity. And I could invest in the stock market, yes, but, I think I want to focus on real estate now. And so I went out there. I got educated in real estate, poured a lot of money into that, because after my whole stock trading experience, I was not going to go down that path again of trying to figure it out on my own. So I figured I got to figure this out for myself. And or I got to not figure this out for myself. I need help in this. So I spent thousands upon thousands of dollars upon real estate stuff. Some of it was absolute pure garbage. Other stuff was, all right, yeah, good, solid. And, but it helped. It gave me that foundation to grow and go through my own experiences, where I've learned a whole lot of what works, what doesn't work, what you really should focus on, it sounds good in print, but in all reality, it doesn't make that much of a difference. So I got involved in real estate. And, so now, I had, from just normal stock market. Then I had claytrader.com revenue. Then I had all of a sudden real estate, because my thing with real estate was I want it to be more so passive income, where when I wake up and I've done zero work, all of a sudden a check is in my mailbox. Now, I don't handle all that. I have a lady that collects all the payments and all that sort of stuff, because I have plenty of other stuff on my plate. But I just did something. I went out there with the real estate, and real estate has given me the opportunity now, and I'm still very active in real estate. The market has definitely changed. It's not like it was back then, but now I am focused on that. I have and people, like I said, just do something. Nate, or actually this is Nate talking to me. Hey, we should do a vlog. A vlog? Oh, I don't know about that. Let's just, Nate once again convinced me, let's do a vlog. And we did a vlog. And he's like, hey, you should talk real estate. Real estate? You think anybody, just let's do real estate. So I did one of our first vlogs was where I explained my real estate strategy, and the views on that, the comments on that, it was by far the most we had. And a lot of people was like, hey, do you have a real estate course? Hey, Clay, you should put together a real estate course. And I'm thinking, wait, what? Real estate course? I don't know. But then, I don't know. I've done lots of deals. I have a pretty big portfolio. I have learned a lot, and I do apparently have some sort of skill in my way of explaining things. So then I went, and eventually I was like, but one thing I've learned, listen to the feedback. So then another video, I flat out asked, would people be interested in a real estate course? Because I don't want to waste my time. And there was a bunch of feedback. Yeah, I would be interested. So here we are. I was thinking, all right, well, real estate course, maybe. But in the back of my mind, at all times, my true passion upon passion is personal finance. And I think the reason, this is theory, but I'm pretty sure the reason is it's something that everyone and anyone can do. I would have loved to play in the NFL. I would have loved to have played in the NBA, been some sort of professional athlete. But at the end of the day, I could have worked as hard can be, but I'm just not going to be able to. No NFL team is going to call me up. No NBA team is going to call me up as hard as I worked. And that's just the reality of the matter is there are some things out there that not everyone can do, not anyone can do. But when it comes to your life, and then specifically your money and controlling your money, focusing on your money, growing your money, anyone can do it. And that always fascinated me because speaking honestly here in the world of trading, while I do believe that, there's a strategy for everybody out there, it's just a matter of trying to find that strategy. It can reach a point where it just people are because it's not easy. And I say this all the time. Trading is not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. You got to have persistence. You got to have passion. For you longer time listeners, you've heard me talk about this stuff over and over again. But with personal finance, it's not easy, but it's not easy just because it takes patience. It takes a couple of initial hurdles to get over. But once you get over those hurdles, once you get yourself a routine, it really is easy, and it's something that anybody can do. You don't have to be able to jump a certain distance. You don't have to be able to run a certain speed. You don't have to be able to lift a certain amount of weight. You don't have to be able to play an instrument up to some sort of epic level. No, you just have to be able to have some patience, have a plan, be able to follow that plan, be able to implement that plan, and anybody can do it. And the cool thing is that once you get all that going, the sky is the limit because that's numbers. Numbers you can form together. You can structure in a way where they are going to work for you. And it goes back to the beginning. Numbers have always fascinated me. And the idea of I'd like to get into financial coaching of somehow, just personal finance coaching, help people rein things in, help people kill debt, destroy debt. And from my perspective there, while I was going through the real estate, while I was going through these phases of things, at one point I had a home equity line of credit, so that is personal debt of $163,000. And I thought, okay, Clay, I really don't like this. What do I need to do here? I sat down, I put together a strategy, I put together a plan, and it was not pleasant because while things were going on, I would have liked to put that money anywhere, but I just hammered that debt. I crushed it. Destroyed it. And it took time, but but I had a system in place, I had a method in place, and I went and I got rid of it. So as I sit here talking right now, I am very, I don't say this in a bragging way, but I want to say it in a way of, this is why I'm doing this, because the feeling of being debt-free is awesome. When you don't have any payments, boy, oh boy, does that cash flow every month just say, wow, that's nice. No car payments, no house payments, no this, no that, no credit cards, no student loans. It is a great, great feeling. And it's not something where, well, Clay, you don't know what it's, do you have $160,000 in debt? And to be honest, it was actually more debt than that because I'm not even factoring in the business debt. But if I bring in the business debt, then it just sounds like it's totally a fairy tale. So I'm not even going to use those numbers. But personal debt, and in fact, I guess I'll get to that in a second, but and there is, documentation out there that's showing, I really did have $160,000 in debt. But that all circled back to my passion of wanting to help people with personal finance, helping people grow wealth, because anybody literally can do it. The problem is a mindset. The problem is people don't have the proper system. They're not focused on the proper things. And I like I said, I'm an engineer. I understand numbers. I love this stuff. I'm a geek. I was a process engineer. I love to put together processes of things. How do you get from point A to B? Like I said, most people would be like, that sounds like the boringest thing ever. Writing an instruction manual. I love to write instructional manuals. I get it. A lot of people, that's terrible. I'm not offended, but I love to try to explain things to people. It's just how it works. And, I don't know why I'm wired that way, but hey, I just am. So I want to do something, and, Nate, had been aware of this, and all right, moneywithclay.com. Why don't we try that? Why don't we try to build kind of a lifestyle site that focuses on life, and the main component of life being your finances, because once you can get finances under control, then you can start to build wealth. And all that has, to do with just having a game plan at place. And then when you build wealth, you can build wealth via the stock market. You can build wealth via the real estate market. But first, you just got to get control. First, you got to destroy the debt. First, you got to get a system and strategy into place. You have to create a new life for yourself. And that's what Money with Clay, is all about. And what my primary goal is to get you into a new lifestyle. Nothing, temporary, because if it's temporary, you'll just backslide into where you were. But I wanted to focus on something where people can, actually have a good, solid foundation where they stay on the foundation, where that, those habits become routines. And when you have habits that become routines, you just have a new lifestyle. And if I can help, promote a lifestyle that, not only destroys debt, gets financials under control, but then helps to create wealth, to me, that's awesome. And this all comes about, again, from Clay Trader. I've done several meetups now around the country. In a little bit, we'll be going to Denver. But to have somebody, look you in your eye and say, hey, Clay, thanks. You've really helped me out. I don't know how to explain that other than saying you just kind of have to experience that something on yourself. But that is better than any sort of money that you could ever give, is to have someone genuinely thanking you for something. And then just to see people helping each other out. By no means am I saying that I'm the reason why, we have the community we do. I'm not saying that at all. The members that have come together are just quality people. And when you sit back and just are a part of it, I'm not saying I built it, I'm saying I'm a part of it. It really is a great thing. And that's where I'd love to see with Money with Clay, because this is something where, to be able to support somebody, you got just one more debt left, keep at it. If I can form something that can help, help encourage, help support in that sense, because let's face it, personal finances is called personal for a reason. Like, it literally has an effect on your life. So if I can help something like that, that's, what I would like to try to do. So going back to that real estate course, I was like, yeah, maybe that would fit on Money with Clay, because that could be a wealth building area. And I already do have a stock market wealth building thing, the Grow Rich course. So I figure, well, I could put that on Money with Clay. But then, I'll maybe have some sort of real estate course. So I put together a real estate course, plan and profit real estate investing. That one, I think that one took me, 5, 6 months, 7 months. It took me a long time. And then, now I have, the slab money method that, is all about, that's step one. You got to get your life under control. You have to start to control your money, not let your money control you. Once you do that, you can start to pay off debt. Once you get that debt destroyed, then you can focus on building wealth. And how you choose to build wealth? Well, yeah, there's the stock market, there's real estate, there's other, areas, and that's what Money with Clay is all about. It's really a site, and this will sound cheesy, about hope. Because a lot of times I feel like people don't have hope when it comes to that sort of stuff. They don't know where to turn, where to start, what do they focus on? Is it actually possible to get out of this hole? Like I said, $160,000 of debt for me. It is possible. And that is where all this has pretty much led me to right now. That is my story. That is how I arrived at Money with Clay. And that is literally where I stand, where I currently am at in my journey right now. There's claytrader.com. There is now moneywithclay.com. That site is still very new. It could turn out to be a failure. I don't know. But sometimes you just got to do something. And my challenge to you is, and I'm not saying do something in regards to trading. So this is not a sales pitch for anything on claytrader.com. Because, at the end of the day, yeah, that stuff can really help out. But the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you have control of your life. And this is not new. You've heard Ches and I talk about this time and time again. Trading is a business. Trading, you need to have full control over. So if you don't have control over your own personal finances, if you don't have control over what's going on in your own life, then how are you going to control trading? How are you going to control all of that? So the step one is, if anything, take action. If you like anything that I put out there, the slab money method, get it. It's $129. You break down the math. If you can either make $2.50 or not spend $2.50 for a week. For 52 weeks in a row, you have paid for the course. Let me say that again, $2.50. Either make $2.50 more or just not spend $2.50 more, and you will literally have the course paid for in 52 weeks, in 1 year. So in other words, it's well worth it. If you're a Clay Trader University member, then you actually get special discount pricing from there. But that's where I want to challenge you to, is just to do something. Maybe you already have control of your finances. Maybe you're already debt-free. Awesome. And maybe you're thinking, I don't know, do I want to try to get into, another stream of income? Do I want to maybe try trading or getting a little bit more active in my investing? Do it. Do it smart though. Remember, you got to do it smart, but just give it a try. You never know what could happen with it. Maybe you're at your work thinking, I don't know, should I really ask for that promotion? Should I really ask for that raise? Do something. Just do it. You never know. Maybe I should just change career fields. Maybe, with that, do it. Do something. Just do it. Is that really? I don't know. Everybody's saying that, I need to do this, that, or the other. But, according to this, I should do something and do what you want to do, but just make sure you're smart about it. I'm not saying do what makes you feel good, because if that was the case, that would lead people down many bad paths. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to do something, do it the right way and try to do it, the best as possible. And failure does not make you a loser. I would say the only thing that makes you a loser is by just not doing something. So get out there and do it. And hopefully, I think I covered everything, but that is my story. That is literally how it all started for me, and kind of where I stand right now and where I want to go. Clay Trader, I have no plans of disbanding that at all. I love that community. It's crazy to think that, I literally now travel around the country and we all want to come hang out and stuff like that. But yeah, moneywithclay.com is something that I have a true passion for. I kind of call it my passion project because, from a business perspective, yeah, selling a course for $129 isn't exactly a lot of money, but that's not the point here. The point is, I want to help people with their life, because this truly is anything or something that anyone can do. So, I get it. That could just be marketing speak. Oh, you say it's not about the money, but just look at the numbers. It's $129. That's not exactly a whole ton of money. Now, money doesn't grow on trees, sure, but it's not like this is some sort of gimmicky thing where it's an obscene amount of money or anything like that. So that's where things are headed. But I'm thinking, I think I have it all covered. But that's my journey. That's where it started, what unfolded, and what got me to where I am right now. And if you have any questions or anything like that, I suppose you could get a hold of me, email me, leave them in the comment section or anything like that, and maybe I can do a follow-up podcast or maybe something like that where I just answer questions. So I guess on that note, if you do have any sort of questions or anything like that, then it can be about anything. I don't know. No promises that I answer the questions because some stuff I'm just, it is what it is. But if you want to leave those down below, like I said, maybe I can do another follow-up podcast to this or a YouTube video or something. But just get out there, do something. You never know. And I think I'm just going to leave you with that. So if you did enjoy this, thank you very much. Before we go, though, a final few things. If you are listening to this on the YouTube channel, make sure you click that like button. Check out the rest of the channel as a whole. There are other videos, and hopefully you ultimately decide to subscribe. If you're listening on iTunes or any of the other podcast players, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And especially on iTunes, if you could leave us a positive rating, that would go a long way. And then finally, on claytrader.com, which is where you would leave the comments. I suppose you could leave them on YouTube too. But yeah, leave us comments down below. I read them. I will reply to them. And especially in this case, if there's questions out there, then I will potentially use those for some sort of future podcast or video or what have you. So thank you again for, hopefully I didn't bore you. I guess if you're still listening at this point, bless your heart. But hopefully you got something out of it. But at the end of the day, I hope you take away at least just 2 words. Do something.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.